بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. We said that every haraka has 6 aspects. Mabda, origin. Muntaha, destination. Mawdu' al-haraka or mutaharrik, what is moving. Fa'il al-haraka or muharrik, the mover. Masafa, that in which haraka happens, and zaman, time. Now we are still with the 5th, masafa. So in the last session we had a discussion about masafa, and now we want to continue in chapter 10. Chapter 10 in section 10. في المقولات التي تقع فيها الحركة. This chapter is on those categories in which haraka occurs. In other words, these maqulat are masafat, yeah? Because haraka occurs in these are like distance, masafa. Before Mullah Sadra, what was very famous was that haraka occurs in 4 categories. You remember, we have normally accepted, among philosophers, this is common sense, and in books of philosophy we see this normally accepted, that there are 10 maqulat, 10 categories, jawhar, and 9 a'raz, accidents. So they had the idea that among those 9 accidents, a'raz, 4 of them can be masafa for haraka. Haraka can occur in 4 of them. Ain, kam, kayf, wadar. Ain, kam, kayf, wadar. Not other a'raz, nor jawhar. So there are 5 a'raz in which there is no haraka, and there is jawhar also in which there is no haraka. Only haraka was accepted by them in 4. Ain, kam, kayf, wadar. But Mullah Sadra said we can have haraka also in jawhar. Inshallah, tomorrow we discuss, not tomorrow, the next session, we talk about chapter 11, which is about idea of Mullah Sadra for substantial motion, harakat al-jawhari. Today we discuss what is said by philosophers before Mullah Sadra. الفصل العاشر في المقولات التي تقع فيها الحركة. Chapter 10 about those categories in which haraka occurs. المشهور بين قدماء الفلاسفة. What is famous among qudama, means the earliest scholars of philosophy, is this, or early philosophers. أن المقولات التي تقع فيها الحركة 4 مقولات. Those maqulat, those categories in which haraka occurs are 4 categories. Al-ain with hamza. Ain, it means where, yeah? But they have made it a noun, and they put alif alam on this, so it's because it has become a noun. Ain is النسبة الحاصلة للشيء في مكان خاص. For example, when something is in a certain location, for example, you are in this room, you are in this point, This is ayn, not the point itself. The relation between you and this location, between you and this venue. This is ayn. Mata is the relation between you and this time. For example, today is Wednesday, and in this time, you have a relation with this time and date. This is mata. Ayn is with location. Mata is with time. Wada' was the relation that parts of something have with location, not just location. Because, for example, sometimes you are changing your location, sometimes you are not changing your location, but you are just going around yourself. Yeah. So this is wada. So in Arabic and Farsi, for example, we say earth has two motions. Al-harakatul wad'iyya, al-harakatul intiqaliyya. Yeah? Earth is going around itself, evolving, and also going around sun. By one of them, day and night is created. By the other one, seasons are created. So this is ayn and wad, are different. So, amma al-ayn. So the first thing, which is very obvious actually, and maybe the first type of haraka that we notice is this one. Haraka fil ayn. When something is moving from one place to another place. Amma al-ayn فَوُقُوعُ الْحَرَكَةِ فِيهِ ظَاهِرٌ. It's clear that haraka happens in this category. كَالْحَرَكَاتِ الْمَكَانِيَّةِ الَّتِي فِي الْأَجْسَامِ. Like motions in places, that ajsam. For example, we send a ball from, or a person or a toy from this side of the room to the other side. So this is motion in ayn. Yes, there is a disagreement about whether ayn is a separate category or we can include it under waz'. Maybe we can expand the waz' so that it can include ayn. We say the nisba between parts of something and the location, but it's not very much affecting us. لكن في كون العين مغولة برأسها كلام. But whether ayn by itself is category, there is a discussion, although وَإِنْ كَانَ مَشْهُورًا بَيْنَهُمْ. What is famous is it is a separate category, independent category. Some say, no, al-aynu ضَرْبٌ مِنَ الْوَعْضِ is one type of wa'd. فَالْحَرَكَةُ الْعَيْنِيَّةُ ضَرْبٌ مِنَ الْحَرَكَةِ الْوَضْعِيَّةِ. So it doesn't change the fact that in ayn we have harakah. Just whether ayn itself is independent category, is part of waz. If you expand the meaning of waz and say nisbatul hasila bayna ajza' al-shay wa bayna ajza'ha wal makan, the relation between parts of something and the location, all of them, then of course it will be included in waz. Amma al-kayf, haraka fil kayf. This is not as obvious as the first one, but this is also still good, clear. Kayf, of course, can be different types of kayf in which we can have haraka. I told you, for example, haraka in color, haraka in taste, haraka in softness. These are all kayf mahsus. So whether it's kayf mubsar, like lone, like color, kayf malmus, like softness, taste, or smell, they can change. Also, for example, one type of kayf quality is what they call al-kayfiyatul mukhtassatu bil-kammiyat. Those qualities that are qualities for certain quantities. For example, khat, line. Line is kamma muttasila qarruzat. Yeah? line is kam muttasil, because kam is either muttasil or munfasil. Munfasil is ada, numbers. Muttasil is khat, sat, hajm, if it is qarruzat, or time if it is not qarruzat. If a new part and old part cannot come together, this is غير qarruzat, means there is no stability. It's like time. It's expiring and refreshing. Anyway, this is about categories. One type of, for example, kayf that is also possible to be masafa for haraka is kayfiyat al-mukhtassat bil-kamiyat. For example, something which is a kayfiyah for khat. For example, he says al-istiwa. Al-istiwa, to be straight. A line can be curving, a line can be circular, a line can be straight. Okay? أما الكيف فوقوع الحركة فيه وخاصة في الكيفيات غير الفعلية كالكيفيات المختصة بالكميات ظاهرون. Occurrence of haraka in kayf, especially those kayfs which are not about actions. We are not talking about them because that is related to the issue on an yaf'al, an yanfa'il, and we are not talking about them. But kayfiyat ghayr al-fi'liya, like kayfiyat which are exclusive to quantities, kamiyat, like istiwa, to be straight, i'wijaj, to be like curve. These are qualities for line, for khat. And just can have changes, gradual changes in this. فإن الجسم المتحرك في كمه يتحرك في الكيفيات القائمة بكمه. If a line is becoming longer and longer, then its straightness is also growing. Or maybe something was curved and then this curve is becoming less and less and then it becomes straight. But maybe the example of color and taste is easier. أما الكم, haraka in kam, in quantity. You have an apple which is very small. Little by little, it becomes bigger and bigger. What is changing here? Kam. The size is changing. And this size is gradually changing. So there is haraka in size. Okay? There's a haraka in size. Or a child is 60 centimeters, then becomes 65, 70, 80, 100. Yeah? So this is growth in the length. It's haraka. أما الكم فالحركة فيه تغير الجسم في كمه تغيرا متصلا بنسبة منتظمة تدريجا. Motion in quantity is change of the body, physical body, in its quantity, gradually, continuously, with regular portions. So at each time, for example, 1% increase, 5% increase gradually. Can move like growth. الذي هو زيادة الجسم في حجمه زيادة متصلة منتظمة تدريجا. Jism is increasing in its size, but continuously and regularly. Of course, it doesn't need to be with the same speed. Maybe sometimes the speed of growth is more, sometimes less, but it has to be continuous, because if it stops, then that haraka is finished, and if it resumes, another haraka starts. But if it is always, for example, in children, In the first few years, it's faster. Yes? Then becomes more slowly. There is an objection here. Some people wanted to deny haraka in camp. They say when an apple or a child is growing in size, indeed, we have added substance. We have added substance. For example, chemicals, water are added. So you think one thing is growing, but indeed this is not one thing. We have the same size apple, and we have new materials around it, like attached to it, or about the child. But Allah says no. It is true that it takes new chemicals and substances, but they are all absorbed by the same surah, the same form. Yeah? So you don't say, this is an apple plus some extra materials. They are now all under the same form. Yeah? This is important. If you just put something next to something, you don't say it is growing. Yeah? For example, I have a bread here, which is 50 centimeters, like baguette. Then I put another baguette, 50 centimeters. I cannot say this has grown. Yeah? وَقَدْ أُورِدَ عَلَيْهِ Urada ala opinion that haraka can be in the camp. أن النمو أنما يتحقق بانضمام أجزاء من خارج إلى أجزاء الجسم. Growth only happens when parts from outside are added to the parts of that object, that physical object. فَالْكَمُّ الْكَبِيرُ اللاحق. So that large size, quantity, is al-kammul ariz, is the quantity that is happening to the existing one and new material. So we don't have one thing, we have something smaller and something next to it. It's the quantity which happens to all parts. Al-asliya, the main one, wal-munzamma, the attached ones. Yeah? لمجموع الأجزاء الأصلية والمنظمة والكم الصغير السابق. But the smaller kam was only for asliya, for the first one, for the main one. والكم العارض لنفس الأجزاء الأصلية. والكمان متباينان غير متصلان. And these are two different things. There is no haraka. At one time, we had the first apple, it had one size. Now these materials are added to it. After they are added, we have a second size. This is no haraka. There is no one thing. There is no graduality. وَالْكَمَّانْ مُتَبَايِنَانْ غَيْرُ مُتَّصِلَانْ. They are two things and disconnected. No graduality and continuity. Why? لِتَبَايُنِ مَوْضُوعَيْهِمَا. Because one kam, its subject is the old sip. Another one, it belongs to the old sip plus new chemicals. So there are two different subjects. فَلَا حَرَكَةَ فِي كَم. So there is no motion in quantity. بَلْ هُوَ الزَّوَالُ كَمٍ وَحُدُوثُ آخَرٍ. There is no haraka. There was a size which finished, a new size has come. So it's like kawn fasad, not like haraka. This is the objection. But the answer, as I said, is that we have one apple which has a surah, a form, actuality, and that form takes new chemicals and integrates them inside itself. Yeah, so little by little is expanded. وأجيب عنه أن انضمام الضمائم لا ريب فيه. Attachment of new attachments, additions, there is no doubt about it. We accept something is added. The size is increasing because more chemicals, water, all these things are going to be added. لكن الطبيعة تبدل الأجزاء المنضمة بعد الضم إلى صورة الأجزاء الأصلية. But the nature transforms these parts which are added after they are attached, they transform them into the form of the first ajza. So takes them into the form of apple. وَلَا تَزَالْ تُبَدِّلْ. And this constantly happens. Any water, any chemicals come, they are put inside that apple. وَتَزِيدُ كَمِّيَّةُ الْأَجْزَاءِ الْأَصْلِيَّةِ تَدْرِيجًا بِانضِمَامِ الْأَجْزَاءِ وَتَغَيُّرَهَا إِلَى الْأَجْزَاءِ الْأَصْلِيَّةِ. And the quantity of the main, the initial, the primary part, little by little, by attachment of new parts, will be added. And they become main part. They become part of this apple, yeah? فَيَزْدَادُ الْكَمُّ الْعَارِضِ لِلْأَجْزَاءِ الْأَصْلِيَّةِ. So that kam, which was araz for the main parts, initial parts, that kam, what he says is that yazdadu, increases. What type of increase? Sudden, disconnected? No. Gradual, connected. Ziyadatan muttasilatan tadrijiyah. This increase is continuous, and gradual, tadrijiyah. And this is harakah. Okay. So far we talked about harakah in ayn, in kam and kayf. Amma al-wadh'. This is very clear. Al-harakah, fal-harakatu fiha idhan zahirun. It's obvious. Like harakat al-kura ala mihwaraha. A ball in its axle, yeah? فإنه تتبدل بها نسبة النقاط المفروضة عليها إلى الخارج عنها. You know, when it is going around itself, it's evolving, maybe the location is not changing. But, for example, this opposite my face was this part, then this goes behind, another part comes. So these points, they change their nisba with the environment, but it's in the same location. أما الوضع فالحركة فيها أيضا ظاهر كحركة الكرة على محورها فإنه تتبدل بها نسبة النقاط المفروضة عليها إلى الخارج عنها. The relation of points which we suppose, these points are not points which are separate from each other. Every point that you point at, because it's continuous, but you say this point, that point, this point that mafruza, you suppose its relation to al-kharij anha, what is outside it, the environment is changing. وَهُوَ تَغَيُّرٌ تَدْرِيجِيٌّ فِي وَضْعَهَا. This is a gradual change in its waza, its condition. Okay. So, mashhur al-falasifa, qudama al-falasifa, they said we have haraka in this form. قالوا ولا تقع حركة في باقي المقولات. They have said haraka does not occur in other maqulat. We have 6 more maqula. 5 arazi and jawhar. Now he wants to explain why haraka, according to them, does not happen in other maqulat. 2 maqula is an yaf'al wa an yanfa'il, or fail wa infa'al. When you are in the process of doing something, or when you are in the process of being affected by something. You may say, actually, this is harakah. The hay'ah, which is happening to you when you are doing something. For example, you are walking, you are swimming. So this condition which is happening to you is an yaf'al. Or if someone is giving you massage, this is an yanfa'il, because someone is working on you. Okay? So you may say, what's the hesitation? Because it has harakah inside actually. Yes, the hesitation is, in harakah, we need to be able to have fixed points if we want to divide it. But here, it's in itself gradual. And their assumption was that we cannot have harakah fil harakah. Yes, but of course, some philosophers say that we can have harakah fil harakah. And I think we can have harakah in harakah. Like what? Like if something is walking but increasing the speed. So this is harakah fil harakah. Yes? Yes, because when the speed is increasing, it's harakah fil harakah. أما الفعل والإنفعال. Why in فعل and انفعال there is no harakah? فإنه قد أخذ في مفهوميهما التدريج. Because in their very concept, graduality is taken. Therefore, لا فرد آني الوجود لهما. They don't have any momentary instance. Anything that you can say at this point. ووقوع الحركة فيهما ينقتضي الانقسام إلى أقسام آنية الوجود. But if harakah was there, harakah requires to be able to divide it into parts which are momentary. They exist in one moment. And in an yaf'al and yanfa'il, we cannot suppose any fixed point, even by supposition. In harakah, we don't have fixed point, but by supposition, we said we could say harakah is in this point, and we say we abstract maqula by these supposed points. وَكَذَا الْكَلَامِ فِي مَتَى. Mata is nisbah to zaman. Because zaman is gradual, again the same problem happens there. You cannot find any point which is not gradual. وَكَذَا الْكَلَامِ. This is similar. The speech or the word about kalam, about mata is the same. So the same thing we say about mata. Why? Because mata is al-hay'atul hasilatu min nisbat al-shay ila zaman. Is the condition that happens to something with respect to time. فَهِيَ تَدْرِجِيَّةٌ. So it's gradual. And again, this graduality conflicts with wuqu' al-harakat fiha, with occurrence of harakah inside, because harakah needs inqisam ila aqsam aniyat al-wujud. The same thing. What about idafa? Idafa is full nisbah. Idafa is completely nisbah. The hay'ah which is happening to something because of nisbah that it has with other things. So they say this nisbah has at least two parts. Any nisbah at least needs two parts. Maybe three parts, but at least two parts. For example, fawqiyya. Something is above something. This is a nisbah. At least you need two things. This nisbah cannot change unless those two sides change. Therefore, we don't have primarily harakah in nisbah. We have harakah in parts of the side of nisbah. Okay? أما الإضافة فإنها انتزاعية. إضافة is something which is abstracted. تابعة لطرفيها. And it is subordinate to its two parts, sides. فَلَا تَسْتَقِلُّ بِشَيْءٍ. So it cannot have independently anything. Nisba independently has nothing. فَلَا تَسْتَقِلُّ بِشَيْءٍ كَالْحَرَكَةِ. It cannot have independently anything like harakah. وَكَذَا الْجِدَةِ. The last araz is jeda. Jeda means, veg down. From vajada yajadu, jeda. Means to have something. When something is surrounded by another thing, like, for example, your foot and your shoe. There is a relation between your foot and the shoe. Again, that relation cannot change unless your foot and shoe change. Yeah. So it's not independent. وَكَذَا الْجِدَةِ فَإِنَّ التَّغَيُّرَ فِيهَا تَابِعٌ لِتَغَيُّرِ مَوْضُوعِهَا. Taghayyur in jada is subordinate to change in what? In the subject. For example, كَتَغَيُّرِ النَّعْلِ. Either the shoe has to change or qadam, your foot has to change compared to what they used to be. For example, if your foot is growing, then the nisba between the foot and shoe is changing. Then it becomes small for you. Yes? So, these are 5 accidents that we don't have harakah in them. The last category that we don't have harakah according to earlier philosophers is substance, jawhar. Amma al-jawhar. Why jawhar cannot have harakah? We have said many times. Because they said if jawhar is moving, we don't have a fixed subject. So this is not the same thing. أما الجوهر فوقوع الحركة فيه يستلزم تحقق الحركة من غير موضوع ثابت. If harakah happens in substance, it means that harakah is happening without a fixed subject. Mawzu, mutaharrik is not the same. If anything changes, we are, happy that the substance is the same. But if the substance also changes, so it's not the same thing. وَقَدْ تَقَدَّمَ. It has been mentioned before. أَنَّ تَحَقُّقَ الْحَرَكَةِ موقوف على موضوع ثابت باق ما دامت الحركة. Happening of harakah depends on a subject, a mutaharrik, which is sabit, which is fixed, and it's there, baqi, it survives as long as there is harakah. We need a mutaharrik. If mutaharrik is also changing, if the substance changing, we don't have the same mutaharrik. So now we have to see how Mullah Sadra solved this problem. And not only he solves the problem, he actually says there can be no change in araz unless there is a change in substance. Because a'raz are not independent from substance. And if a'raz change, the substance must also change. So this takes us to Al-Faslul Hadi Ashar, 11th chapter, في تعقيب ما مر في الفصل السابق. It's actually like the same chapter, but because it's too long and it's about Harakat al-Juhari, so he makes it separate. Maybe a little break and we continue, or okay. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin.